right. Good afternoon. Welcome to the TeachX workshop for the CAE exam. This is session 3. Today we're going to be diving into the written part of the exam. I'm here with my wonderful participants from Uzbekistan. I'm waiting for everyone to get on board so we can get started. So I'll be back with you in just a moment.
They were very interesting and informative.
Were they challenging? What about the level of English? And were they easy to understand as a document and the text, or?
Somehow challenging. It was somehow challenging, right?
Good. We like challenges.
There are some words that we have found it some unknown words, some challenging words, academic words.
Good. Okay.
I've just encountered some unknown words, but I just tried to ignore it.
Right. Okay. Because we're in the activity, we're scanning for gist, try to understand the main points, the topics, the overall idea, let's say, and concept of the text. Then once we go into the questions on the exam, then we're going to start looking for more specified information. Redmi, Marafat, what about you guys? What did you do yesterday, or what have you done today to practice your English?
Oh, I'm in the car now. It's noisy.
Right, I'm sorry. But that's okay.
Yeah, but I did some speaking today and also some listening, but it was a little bit difficult for me.
Right, okay.
The listening part. For.
Right, okay. Redmi. That's Redmi Note 9S. That's not your name, obviously.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here.
What's your name?
My name is Manzula.
Nanzula. Aha.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, to be honest, I tend to prepare myself for this exam on a day-to-day basis. I've practiced listening, reading, speaking yesterday, and I did these practices today as well. And I have also practiced passive reading today.
Right, okay. Right. Excellent. Now we have Mahigul is here also.
Yeah, I'm here.
Right, okay. No, that was Hermatbek. Am I saying that correctly? They're still loading their audio, right? Hermatbek. Your guys' names are cool, really cool, huh? My name is boring. Mark Anthony, come on. Right, guys. So the idea, I'm very proud of you doing the work. Okay, we've understood that if we want to do well in the competition, we need to invest time in reviewing and expanding our knowledge of the English language, right? We've understood that. English language ninjas, right? That's what we are, right? Be a ninja, right? So today we're talking about writing. Okay, the writing part of the exam. We have a lot of material to go through. I've also created an online step-by-step tool you can use. I'll show you. I've adapted it from a Cambridge document, but we'll get to that. Okay, guys. Before we begin, do any of you have any questions? Quickly, that might.
Yeah, I just as for me, I've got a question.
Yes.
In the speaking exam, just will we be expected to describe a picture?
Yes. Now, okay. We're doing writing today. I've planned on listening tomorrow, and then speaking. Okay. So
it's the last part. Speaking is the last part, right?
Right.
Okay.
Now let's see how far we get into the listening tomorrow, because there's not a lot we can do there. You know that. Because you just need to practice listening and understanding. Well, there's things about, we'll get into that. But if we don't if we have extra time tomorrow, if we move through the listening very quickly, then we'll start on the speaking, because speaking might be a bit more demanding. I have some videos for you. One on an actual a C1 exam, and it provides the examiner's comments about the performance. I think that's going to be interesting. I have the same for us for the writing here today. We have some examples and some examiners reviews and comments. I think you'll find those useful. Okay. Let's just jump.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got question once more. Just our mark just will be cut by experts if we just break the word limit.
If you write more or less.
Yeah, if we write more, for example.
Well,
will our mark be cut by experts?
No. You won't be. Points will not be taken away. But you do have a time there. It's your time there, so you're not going to have a lot of time to write more than 260 words, because if you do that, it's a good question actually, because it's from 220 to 260, so minimum 220, maximum 260. If you go a few words over that, it's not going to be a problem. But if you would need to write concise. So if you're writing more than 260 words, then maybe you're not using relative clauses, you're not writing in a concise manner, you're not combining your ideas into one sentences. Might be, where you can use relative pronouns, relative clauses to combine two ideas into one sentence. So you're saying more with less words.
I'm giving this question because I got lower score just when was it just previous examination, because there was said that you have to write at least 190 words, but I wrote about 300 words, but the topic was quite easier. So, and I was quite sure that I did it well, but the oral score was just low. That's why I'm giving these questions.
Right. What exam did you take? What exam was it? Was it the FCE?
Writing? No, B2.
That's the FCE.
Yeah.
Cambridge FCE. Right. Well, okay. Now there's another reason for giving you this these parameters, because it's also testing your ability to express your full ideas within a limitation. So they're saying, okay, say what you need to say, but only say it with a maximum of 260 words. So it's forcing you to be concise and to succinct with the way you're writing, and only listing the main details, supporting those main details, and not adding too much maybe unrelated information, because here you have an essay. It's not a story, it's an essay, so they're asking you to respond precisely and concisely to the prompts provided.
Okay, got it.
Let's stick within the these parameters, and we need to practice to understand what it looks like and what it feels like to write 260 words.
Okay.
We don't have to stop and keep counting and all that, because it's frustrating and it wastes time. So we need to practice what does 260 between 220 and 260 words. What does that look like on the paper? You guys are going to be writing this by hand, right? So practice writing by hand. I know we all like to work on the computer. I do. I do everything on the computer, and actually my spelling has become worse and worse, because you have spell checking, you have this. Okay, that's not the point, right? But spelling is also very important. That's the point I was trying to make. We get lazy with the computer. Sometimes we don't focus enough on spelling the word correctly from the very beginning, because we know that on Google it'll word check us, and Microsoft Word it'll word check us. So we need to focus also on spelling. That's the point I wanted to make. And guys, let's just jump into it, okay? Right, where are we? Just close some of this stuff up. You don't need to see my emails. All right, okay, we'll start here. What it says in our book. Now, has everyone downloaded this book, by the way? This is our students' book for the Cambridge exam.
No,
I can't hear you very well.
You have no permission. We have.
Of course you have permission. What do you mean?
When I tried to enter the link that you uploaded as a student's book, it didn't give us permission to open.
Oh, really? Well,
Yeah,
I'm very
that's
sorry.
why I couldn't download.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, as for me, just I couldn't download it.
Right. Bear with me, guys. Give me just a moment. And I'll fix that as we speak. Let's go to my YouTube channel. No, this is my.
Miss, could you send the link to the chat or chat?
Well, I will in just one moment, guys. Let me just back up here. I don't need YouTube. I need my drive. Let me just check the link. Here we are. CAE. Open up. Okay, Cambridge Ed. Yeah, anyone with the link, you should be able to download it. Or let's see what I've done. Okay, I'll just send that in the chat as we speak to everyone. But it's only going to go to those that are connected now. Okay, try it now. Somebody please test the link. Let's see what the. I'm just checking what the link that I put in the video. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Yeah.
I might have linked.
Was it a sample exam?
No.
Student's book?
Student's book, right.
Actually, it was sample exam. Yeah, this is exam paper.
Okay. Again, bear with me. I hate complications. Just get back to my home page. Let's go back to my drive. It's a, yes. Okay. Right. Okay. Hold on to that because you'll need that also. Get link. My mistake, guys. Right. No. Now here it is. Okay. Now, all your links will work. So don't worry about it. Just use the link you did before and it'll work.
Thank you.
That's all my problem. It was restricted. All right. Let me get back up here. And let's just jump into it. Okay. So you should all have access to this now. Okay. What I want to look at, we're going to be looking at. Oh, am I sharing my screen? Yes, I am. Oh no. Right. Okay. Just hide these tools. Okay. These elements here, this information we'll cover on the site in just a moment. I want to look at the do's and don'ts and the frequently asked questions. Okay. Right. We're not going to read them. We'll just answer them. Right. What if I write too much or if I don't write enough? This answers your question here. Right. The questions on the test paper will tell you how much to write. You can use this information to help you plan your answer. If you write a shorter answer, which includes all the required information, this is okay. If you write too much, you'll only lose marks if you include details which aren't important or which could confuse the reader. Okay, does that answer your question? So you need to respond to all the prompts or the things requested of you. And if you can do that in 200 words, it can be shorter. But if you do too much, you run the risk of including unnecessary information or getting off topic. Okay. Right. How long should I spend on each part? Right. Basically, both parts 1 and 2, they're worth the same amount of marks. They're both 220 to 260 words. So half the time, half and half. Split your time evenly. What are my answers? You'll have a space provided to you in your candidate answer booklet. What happens if I need more paper? Don't worry, extra paper will be provided for you. And you'll just mark those as you mark the question clearly on the paper and put it inside your booklet. Okay, guys? All right, just helpful information. The do's and don'ts. Okay. Allow time to plan and to check your writing. We're going to look at our planning skills today, okay? And how we can both mentally and physically, as in structuring on paper, this and that, how we can, let's say, organize what we're going to write about before we start writing, okay? Right, allow time to plan and to check your writing. Read every part of the question carefully so you can ensure that your answer responds to all the content points in the task, and each point is developed fully, okay? Think carefully about whether the task requires you to persuade or justify your opinion, okay? This is also very important. And make sure that you do this in your answer, okay? These would be special instructions. We'll look at these in the sample exam. We also have a lot of information and examples that I found online. Use a range of vocabulary and grammar, as well as a style and tone, which are suitable for the task and the reader. Because style and tone might differ depending on the type of essay you're writing, or the review, or the report. These instinctively have their own different style and tone. In part 1, read the opening paragraphs and instructions very carefully to make sure that you know what your role is and who you're writing to. Okay, if you're writing to colleagues, you might have one style and tone, or you might be able to use more casual language. But if you're writing to the owner of the company, for example, then you'd have a different style and tone. You'd understand that, understanding who you are and why you're writing, okay, or who you're writing to. Part 1, remember that you don't necessarily need to use all the input information. Usually part of the task is to select the appropriate information. Right, okay. Write clearly so your answers are easy to read. However, it's not important if you write in capitals, or if your writing is joined up, cursive or not joined up. Who says that? Cursive. I guess this might be British English. This cursive would be American English. The important thing is that the examiner can read your handwriting. That's very important. Okay. You're writing by hand. Write in pencil. We'll look at this here, and it must be legible. They have to be able to read your answer. The don'ts. Don't use the exact words from part 1, from the part 1 question. Use your own ideas or your own words, okay? Don't write answers that are much longer than the word limit. Okay, there's just to respond to the question earlier. This means you may have included a lot of irrelevant content, possibly. I'm not saying that your answer before was irrelevant, but let's stick to the parameters of the task. Right, don't write addresses for a letter. Okay, they are not required. So writing these will waste valuable time. Don't use a pencil. For this paper, you must write, I told you wrongly. I stand corrected. Don't use a pencil. For this paper, you must write in pen. And you know why, right? So that somebody can't go back and change the answer after the end of the exam. Right. Okay. So repeat, I stand corrected. Do not use a pencil. Use a pen. Now, you can draft your ideas, I guess, on a separate sheet of paper, but then you'll have to copy them back. We're going to look at different ways to overcome that. Okay. Right. That's that. Now let's look on our website formats. We'll just skim over this again. Right, in our writing. Okay, right. Excuse me, guys. Oh, I've had a kind of a runny nose lately, so excuse my cough. It's not COVID. Thank God. Right. Okay, quick summary. Hour and 30 minutes. Okay, so that's 90 minutes. So the two tasks are equal in score and probably complexity and length. So 45 minutes per task. Okay, 2 parts. Part 1 is compulsory. Part 2, 1 question from a choice of 3. The types, you have a range from an essay, which is the mandatory. Then you have a choice. You'll have 3 from this list: a letter or email, a proposal, a report, and or a review. Okay. Part 1, compulsory. You read a text, then write an essay based on points included in the text. You'll be asked to explain which of the 2 points is more important and to give reasons for your opinion. Okay, I've got this open here. Let's have a quick look at this, just so we can do some cross-referencing. Right, part 1, let's back this off a little bit. Right, as we've seen, it's compulsory, 220 to 260 words in an appropriate style on the separate answer sheet. Okay, here you have, this is your situation. It gives you what the situation is. For example, your class has attended a panel discussion, can't speak today for some reason, on facilities which should receive money from local authorities. Okay, you have made the notes below. Which facilities should receive money from the local authority, as this is your task, your topic: museums, sports centers, public gardens. Opinions expressed in the discussion. Okay, now as we've just seen, we don't want to copy paste. We don't want to repeat these identically. We want to rephrase them in our own words. Okay, so here, write an essay discussing 2 of the facilities in your notes. You should explain which facility is more important for local authorities to give money to, giving reasons to support your answer. Okay, so you're going to talk about 2, but 1 is more important, and you're going to state the reasons why. You may, if you wish, make use of the opinions expressed in the discussion, but you should use your own words as far as possible. Right, okay, right. So you're only discussing 2. They give you 3. You're discussing 2, and you're stating which is most important. Okay, let's get back to our. Let's go back to this. Okay. All right. The focus here: developing points as fully as possible in order to demonstrate a range of structures, vocabulary, and language functions, such as evaluating, expressing opinions, hypothesizing, justifying, and persuading. Okay. It's compulsory. Here's our word count. And part 2, okay, you write a text from a choice of text types: letter, email, proposal, report, or review. To guide your writing, you'll be given information about context, topic, purpose, and target reader. The focus here: writing the different types of text that could be included in the exam. The focus of how we can be best prepared, how we can practice. Okay. How many questions are there? 3 tasks from which you must choose 1. Here's our word count. Let's have a quick look at part 2. Okay. Now it gives you a choice of 4 here, guys and gals. Letter, email, proposal, report, or review. And we don't know which ones are going to be on the exam. In this sample exam, we have a report, we have a review, and we have a letter. Now, let me just open up the second sample exam. I really don't want to, but because it's going to be showing you in advance. Actually, I'm going to stop sharing for a moment, open that up. Not that you don't have access to it, but just bear with me, guys. Just to see what the task types are in the second part. Aha, right. It's a proposal, a report, and a review. Okay, so don't count on the letter. That's the point I'm trying to make. Let me just get back to sharing my screen. Don't count on there being a letter, which everyone probably thinks that's the most easy, that's the easiest task to do. But maybe it won't be on there. Okay, so we need to practice writing reports, writing proposals, and also writing reviews. Okay, is that clear, guys? I'll take silence as a yes. All right, okay. Now I want to go, I found some.
It's clear.
Excuse me, it's clear. Everything is clear,
It's
right?
clear, yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay, so we just go ahead and close this up also. Right now. Right, if you're not talking, please mute your microphone. All right, I just did that for you. Okay. Close this up. Okay, so surfing around, comparing different things I found on the web, I found these 2 sites that are very comprehensive on how to on essay writing. Okay, I wanted to go into it. Now it's important because it talks about different things we need to take into consideration approaching the task. Okay, right. One is time management. Now, this is a site. These 2 sites are both from teachers that prepare students specifically for the CAE, well, all of the Cambridge exams. So they have lots of information, lots of experience, and these are the things they teach their students. Okay, a road to success on how they can best approach essay writing and writing the different additional tasks. Okay, guys. Now I want to let's do this together a bit. Of course, I'm going to give you these links so you can go back and review. Okay. We know that we have 90 minutes to write 2 texts, same size, same points. Okay. Right. So we need to manage our time. So basically, 10 minutes for planning, 25 minutes for writing, and then 10 minutes for checking. Okay. For each of the tasks. It's very important to plan. Okay. Now I mentioned before we looked at, okay, you can't use pencil, you must use a pen. Again, I stand corrected with that. But there's a way that you can manage or organize what you're going to write before you start writing. Okay. Now, usually there are 5 paragraphs in the writing, and I'm probably repeating what's going to be said down here. But basically, I'll go ahead and say it in the beginning. There are 5 paragraphs, right? Usually, you have the introductory paragraph, then you have the points that you make, then you have your closing paragraph. So usually 5. Or maybe we'll look at that. Okay. So the idea here is you're going to have separate paragraphs representing different pieces of information. Okay. If you use in your notebook, you can put titles to your paragraph. You can list using bullet points or a numbered list, something like that, the different information that you're going to place inside each paragraph. Okay. You can also include how you're going to link this paragraph to the following paragraph, because we also need to link the information together as a distinct flow throughout the essay. Okay, and you can take lots of notes. You can do this in the 10 minutes. Make extensive notes. It doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be beautiful. It doesn't have to be organized. It just needs to be laid out in a way that you can read it. And then once you have your structure, once you have your organization, then you can actually start writing on the page. Now, with every exam, when you're writing by hand, if you make a mistake, the idea is to try to not make mistakes. Okay, but if you do, you I believe it's the same on the Cambridge exam, but you just make put a clean line through the mistake, and then continue writing. Okay, so you can make mistakes. The idea here is to be organized to the point where we're making as few mistakes as possible. Okay, right? Okay, we don't. Let's look at this. Right, planning is important. Jamie Oliver, you can't cook without a recipe. Okay, let's have a look together. A lot of students hate planning and think it's a waste of valuable exam time, but that is not true. Right, but do chefs walk into a kitchen and just start cooking? I do. Right, I'm also a chef. Of course not. They lay out their ingredients, make sure that the utensils are clean, and have the recipe nearby. Okay, your plan is the recipe you'll use to cook up a great piece of writing. Okay, think about how many paragraphs you want, then get some ideas about the content of each, just like I said. But even at this early stage, you should start planning. Admit, right? Sorry, you should. But even at this early stage, you should start planning the language you want to use. Okay, ask yourself questions like this. This is in your planning, making notes. Sorry. Right. Okay. So it's crucial, or it's vital. It's very important that you understand as much of the content as you can before you actually start writing. Ask yourself questions like this: where can I use a passive form? Where can I use an inversion? Okay. What CAE level vocabulary do I know about this topic? And where can I use it? How do I link from one paragraph to the next? Okay. Thinking about solutions before you start writing is the easiest way to solve problems. Right. My grandmother always told me an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Prevention would be getting prepared beforehand. It's much easier to be prepared beforehand than going back and trying to recreate your essay or reorganize everything. That's another important part about structuring your making an outline of the document you're going to write. That way, it's much easier to move ideas and concepts around. If you start writing your essay and you just start writing without any organization, and you get to paragraph 3 and you say, oh wow, this should be paragraph 2. What do? Do you scratch it out, and then, or do you start drawing arrows around on the page and this and that? Then your document becomes unruly and not very professional or attractive. So organization is very important. Let's look at the content. Okay. Part 1, the first thing you're assessed on is your content. This is in the grading, okay? That basically means reading the task carefully and doing what you are told to do, responding to the instructions. In part 1, you're given 3 bullet points and are asked to talk about 2 of them. You're also given some opinions on the topic that you can use if you want, but you don't have to. Here's an example of the 3 bullet points and a task. Okay. Why adults can influence how younger people behave. Right. Oh, okay. Ways. Giving rules, setting an example, offering advice. Okay, right. The instructions, write an essay discussing 2 of the ways in your notes that adults can influence younger people's behavior. You should explain which way you think is more effective, giving reasons to support your opinion. Okay, very similar to the one we looked at in the other sample exam. Okay, if I were planning my answer, I'd probably choose giving rules and setting an example as my 2 points because I feel like I have more to say about these topics. Right. That's another point of analysis. Which of these 3 can you say more about or you know more about? Okay. How much would I write about offering advice? Nothing, because I should only write about 2 things, right? You don't need to write about all 3. Don't write about all 3, only 2. Okay. Another important point is to say which is more effective. I'd probably write 1 paragraph about giving rules, and the next paragraph would be about setting an example. I would be sure to give reasons why it was a more effective way to influence younger people. Okay. To give the example here, we're just going to run through this. I have other examples here which are relevant. Right, part 2. What about part 2? Again, it's important to read the question carefully and make sure you include everything it tells you, to, right? Here's a kind of task that will come up. Writing a report. We'll look at these on the sample exam, okay? It's easier to read. Here's an outline you could follow. This is a report. Now, all 4 of these possible tasks in part 2, they all have their own style and tone and their type of language. A report, it's usually academic in nature, very neutral. You wouldn't use, for example, you wouldn't use any type of contractions, like you wouldn't write don't, you'd say do not, because any type of academic or professional writing, you don't use contractions. In a letter, you can. Again, it depends on who you're writing the letter to, okay? Here, let's look at the outline. In a report, you have an introduction, evaluation of the program that's based on the content here. The most useful parts of the program, again, based on the content, suggested changes for the next year, and then a summary. Okay, right, so just changes. You'll extract your different headings here from the situation itself. Not very imaginative, but you'd be guaranteed to get full marks in terms of content. Okay, right. Here you can be a little creative in your titles, but it needs to clearly represent the information that's being presented in the paragraph following the heading. Okay. Excuse me, guys. Communicative achievement. Right. Tone. Which is better? Okay, what's up? Or dear sir or madame. Right. This is dealing with the letter, of course. Well, it depends who you're talking to. If your task is to write a report for your serious organization, you should use a formal tone, obviously. If you're writing a magazine article for teenagers, you can be more informal. Okay, this is a huge topic, and there's not enough space to go into detail here. Okay, right. I'll list a few external resources that might help you, but a good course book will give you lots of guidance. Okay, don't worry about that. The main tip is to be consistent. Students often write a report that is 95% formal and then throw in some exclamation points, slang, contractions, and informal vocabulary. That's bad. Okay, it suggests you don't have control over your tone. Okay, so be consistent. All right, these are different dealing with formal and informal language. You'll have links to these websites. You can go and research this in more detail. Let's look at the different types quickly. You should invest some time making sure you know the difference between a letter and an essay. We know that. I know we know that. And between a report and a proposal. Here are a few quick trips. I wish I could take a trip. This lockdown is driving me crazy. Quick tips essay. You need to give your opinion in an interesting way. CAE essays are often academic in tone, so practice of formal writing will be helpful. The letter email, write an email with the same opening closing as a letter. In these, you write about your personal experiences. Your writing will have a purpose, like responding to a newspaper article you don't agree with, for example. Okay. And as we've seen, we don't need to include addresses here, right? A report proposal. Use headings for each paragraph. The task will tell you some of the content you need to include, and you'll be able to use your imagination to add some more ideas. You may be asked to evaluate if some goal has been achieved, and or to suggest alternative courses of action. A proposal will have more scope for making suggestions and more need for polite, persuasive language. Okay, we can understand the difference just by the titles: reporting information or proposing something, right? A review. Only choose this if you're great with vocabulary. The kind of words you need to know depend a lot on the topic. You might be reviewing a film, a concert, a book, a website. So if you know 20 C1 words related to film, then great. If not, you can do a great review that will feel like FCE B2 level. Right, okay. Excuse me, guys. So that's good advice. There'll probably always be a review. But if you're not good at writing reviews, then choose something else. This is a very good point here. Okay. But let's keep going. Organization. Cambridge loves linking words and cohesive devices. We need to practice these. These are bits of text like firstly, whereas, in addition, however, and so on. Okay, and so on. Properly used, they will make your writing flow and make your text easier to read. You can't do well in a CAE without using these phrases. We need to practice using these linking words and cohesive devices. Right. My writing course, Andrew C1 Writing Workshop, has okay. He's promoting his own little shop. Okay, his own little workshop. Grading the language. Organizing the text using linking words and getting all the content points is a great start. But for a high grade, we want a high grade, you'll need to use advanced vocabulary and more difficult sentence structure. Okay. In the planning stage of the exam, think about which high-level words you know for that topic and think in which paragraph you can use them. For example, if the topic is about transport, you might use phrases like mass transit system, to commute, congested, and pressed for time, for example, okay? Then you need to use a variety of structures: passives, inversions, cleft sentences, question sentences with semicolons. The more variety, the better. Right, the more variety, the better. The more of these instruments you use, the examiner is the better. Well, let's see, the better you will communicate or show your command and control of the language. Okay. Also, a variety of sentence links. This picture explains what I mean. Okay. Right. Let's just. Can you see that? It's kind of blurry, huh? The sentence has 5. Okay, this sentence has 5 words. Here are 5 more words. 5 more sentences are 5-word sentences are fine, but several together become monotonous. Listen to what is happening. The writing is getting boring. The sound of it drones. It's like a stuck record. The ear demands some variety. Okay, so okay. Now listen. I vary the sentence length and create music. Music. The writing sings. It has pleasant rhythm, a harmony. I use short sentences, and I use sentences of medium length. Okay, so basically what he's trying to say, okay, right, is use a combination of sentences, and you can do that to stress ideas, um, but then to add music and rhythm and harmony to the sound, to the reading of the text, to use longer sentences, relative clauses, using all of these devices above. Um, you have linking words, um, um, cohesive, how did they phrase that? Sorry. And cohesive devices, right? Didn't want to get that wrong. Okay, let's keep going. So instead of writing like this, a lot of politicians say they will improve bus and train services. Having trains is good for people who have to go to work. It means they don't have to take the car to work. It is probably faster. If everyone takes a train to work, there won't be any traffic jams. Okay, you can produce this. Why do progressive politicians pledge to provide mass transit systems in their cities? Okay, introducing the topic with a question. The answer is clear. Not only do press for time commuters benefit, but there's also less pollution, less congestion, be a thing of the past. Let flowers bloom next to every tram stop. Okay, wow, it sounds like poetry. In those three sentences, there's one question, one colon, one semicolon, one not only but also, one imperative. Not bad, right? You can write like this if you practice and if you're not afraid to make some mistakes along the way. Okay, mistakes are proof that you're trying. Okay, and you can't. Okay, you shouldn't make any mistakes, but you're probably going to make a few mistakes. The idea is to minimize these. Okay, and not risk writing more advanced and higher level um, um, forms of the language, but to try to do it. And if you're writing at a C1 level and you're using all these lovely devices, if you make a small mistake, okay, you may or may not get you may or may not lose points depending on the mistake, but you will gain points by using the C1 level, the C1 devices. Okay, right. Let's keep going here. Uh, by the way, if you need more practice, you'll see on this page, there are many different um, helpful articles that you can read to help you study more about writing essays, advanced essays, improving essays, um, how to write a proposal. Okay, well, we'll look at that in just a moment. But and then they have many videos about essay writing that you can if you want to take the time to watch, okay, and study. Some common mistakes, grammar mistakes. Most CAE students don't make obvious um, basic mistakes like your, or it's, but they do struggle with things like relative clauses, as I mentioned. Um, you need to learn the difference between defining and non-defining relative clauses. Your non-defining clauses need commas, while your defining clauses shouldn't have commas. We know these, right? Defining clauses tell you who the subject or the object is, and non-defining provides extra information. But we know that as teachers, we know that. Right. Some examples here. I had lunch with my grandfather, who is 90 years old. Right. The second half of the sentence tells you more about my grandfather, extra information. It's bonus information. So there has to be a comma. Okay. I had lunch with my friend who lives in Prague. Okay. Right. Okay. Basically, this tells you who the friend is. It identifies the object here. So no comma. So who lives in Prague clause gives you essential information. Therefore, no comma. Note that non-defining pronouns cannot be changed to that. So you should never write a comma followed by that. This is especially a problem in German speakers, because in German you have to use a comma before that. Okay, we're not German. I don't think any of us are German, right? The gerund versus the infinitive. This is another big problem. Okay, even for C1 level individuals, you know that the English language, it loves the gerund. It loves the continuous. It just sounds better. Okay. The gerund means the ing from the verb. This is the tricky part of grammar because there are no rules and you have to learn every verb one by one. English, anyway, make sure you know these structures. Right. I used to live in China equals I lived in China. I'm used to hearing German. It means hearing German is normal for me. I'm used to. I used to live, okay. I look forward to meeting you. I look forward to meet you. It's the gerund. It wants the gerund. After stopped, start, before, we want the gerund. I stopped smoking, not I stopped to smoke. I started reading a good book this morning, not I started to read. It's not grammatically incorrect, but it begs the gerund. It wants the gerund. Okay. Oh, it tells you right here. I stopped to smoke. I stopped what I was doing because I wanted to have a cigarette. Ah, right, exactly. I stopped walking, or I stopped making dinner to smoke a cigarette. Okay, and that's the difference there. I stopped smoking means I quit. Okay, so careful with the meanings here, the gerund. I recommend buying new computer equipment. Suggest and advise are all suggest and advise are also followed by gerunds. I recommend buying. Okay. Now I recommend you. This is the verb form here. I recommend you buy new computer equipment. This is dealing with the object. Okay, right. So just be careful with the gerund. Practice makes perfect. Okay. Prepositions we need to study. Right, so hard, so many prepositions, so many mistakes. Just learn as many as you can and remember every single student who has ever taken a CAE exam has struggled with prepositions. You're not alone, okay? And you can study these. You could use the preposition collocations, studying reviewing the different prepositions. It's you just need to study to memorize them, right? Conditionals, right? If I get the job, I will move to Zurich. The speaker is confident. If I got the job, I would move to Zurich. The speaker is not confident. If I had got the job, I would have moved to Zurich, but the speaker didn't get the job and didn't move to Zurich. Right. Here we have the first, the second, and third conditionals. Right. Like I said before, not taking risks. To be so worried about making mistakes, you don't risk using higher level language and all the C1 devices for writing. We need to try, okay? Being boring, okay? Right, again, you want what you write to be interesting, captivating, engaging to the reader, okay? Not to just read every word. Correction outline, right? Students often ask if I offer a writing correction. No, that's okay. And I don't think we've asked these questions before. Okay, guys. Before we continue, any questions so far at 3 o'clock? My voice is a little harsh today. I'm sorry.
Everything's clear.
Okay, right. We're just 4.
I have a question.
Okay, please ask.
Well, what are cleft sentences actually?
Excuse me?
You said that we should use cleft sentences in our essays. What kind of sentences are called cleft sentences?
Clef.
Cleft.
Cleft.
Oh, right. Are you sure I said that? I said concise, I believe, or relative sentences, I believe. So I don't know what a cleft sentence is actually.
Yeah, here it is.
Where is
Cleft sentence. Passive inversions. No, you.
Colons, semicolons, like this.
all right?
Unless I'm mistaken, it is about mistakes
Maybe it is. Wait,
written in these.
perhaps, yeah. Let me just go back. Bear with me, guys. All right, graying language.
Just about these mistakes.
Yeah, here was
Here.
it.
About the mistakes that was written in the red letters.
Okay, was that down the page here? Ah, right. Okay,
Above this page.
above that.
Yes, above that.
Here, just here.
Ah, right. Okay. In these sentences, there is one question, one colon, one semicolon, but not
No,
one, not.
no.
Can-
Unless
can
I'm
you go up?
mistaken, it is about, yeah. It's about these
Can you go up?
examples.
Right. Ah, cleft sentences.
Yes. Cleft
Yeah.
sentence. Here it is.
Well, I'm American, so maybe this is a British term. Let's just Google it. BBC, right? We'll look at this together. Okay. Right. Cleft sentences are used to help us focus on a particular part of the sentence and to emphasize what we want to say about introducing it or building up to it with a kind of relative clause. Okay. Excuse me. Because there are two parts to the sentence, it is called cleft. Okay. Which means divided into two. Right. Two clauses. In American English, would call them two clauses to the relative to the relative sentence, right? Cleft sentences are particularly useful in writing where we cannot use annotation for purposes of focus or emphasis. But there are also frequently used in speech. Let's see some of their examples here. Right. Compare the following sets of sentences and notice how the cleft structure in each case enables us to select the information we want to focus on. I've come to discuss my future with you. Here, the reason why I've come is to discuss my future with you. So this makes it two different parts, so two different clauses to the sentence. And here you can see, which are usually linked up here to the clause that we want to focus on with is or was. Right.
I got it.
Right. Okay. It's not necessarily a relative clause, but if it's a cleft sentence. So it's a sentence comprised of two different clauses. This is one clause. This is the second clause. But we're expanding our first idea. I've come to discuss my future with you. Okay. Let's look at one more here. Your generosity impresses more than anything else. The thing that impresses me more than anything else is your generosity. Right. Extending your ideas here. And you can see that there's an added quality and sophistication to the structure. Okay. Right. Let's look at one more just to reinforce the point. The jewels are hidden under the floor at 23 Robin Hood Road in Epping. Right. Okay. The place where the jewels are hidden, first clause, is under the floor at 23 Robin Hood Road, Epping. Right. Okay. There's another structure possible. Under the floor at 23 Robin Hood Road is the place where the jewels are hidden. Okay. Is it clear, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
thank you.
Right. Okay.
Just,
And
just we know how to use these sentences, but we don't know.
Here,
It's just the name.
well, oh, yeah. You know how to do it. You know how to
Yeah,
write
yeah,
things more in
Yeah.
a more sophisticated way. Okay.
yeah.
Right.
Mr. Mark Anthony, I
Yeah.
have another question, if you please listen to me.
I'm listening. We're all listening. Go ahead.
Well, you said that we can use questions, interrogative sentences,
Right.
and how we can use them. Do they influence the mark?
Well, it adds a sophistication to your to what you're writing. Okay. Because you can let's go back to the top here where it talks about what gives an example here. Where was that? Exactly here. Because the topic here, it doesn't show the topic here. Okay, but look at this. Why do progressive politicians pledge to provide mass transit systems in their cities? Okay, your topic's probably about transport.
Should we use it in the body paragraph of our essay?
Well, you can if you you can use that to introduce ideas in the individual paragraphs. Okay, now I've got let's keep going here. Okay, and next I've found another site. We might run over a bit today. We'll get everything done. Dealing more specifically with different details about the essay, and they give you some examples here also. We're not going to read these, of course. I'm going to give these to you for your own review, okay? Because looking at other examples, and getting back to your question, I'm sorry. For example, if you want to use questions to lead into each paragraph, because each paragraph will represent some aspect of the task or the information in the task you're asked to respond to. Okay, you have an introduction here, which will introduce the topic and the different points you're going to make in your essay. Then the paragraphs will represent each point there, and then you'll reinforce and close your essay with a final paragraph. Now, if you want to use questions to introduce the ideas the different points that you're going to write about, you can. Okay, you don't have to use them in both places, but it's a clever way to engage the reader. When you ask a question, it begs an answer. You automatically you're more engaging with the reader, because when someone asks you a question, you automatically start thinking of an answer, or you're it gets you thinking. It's more engaging, right? I went too much into detail there, right? Okay, we've looked at the different parts. We've seen that. We've seen the different assessment criteria. Okay, we won't go much into detail here, but I want to make this available to you. But no, let's look at this here. Right. Just to go quickly here, okay? We'll read through this quickly. Let me make this a bit bigger so we can see it. Okay. An example task as an illustration. Okay. You have watched a TV program about scholarship and who should get in your country. Who should get in your country. Now, I wonder if this is a mistake, or to get in is a phrasal verb, in your country.
Should get it. Should be right.
Get it? No. And a scholarship, and who should get it, right? Bravo. Can't change it here.
Get it.
In your country.
Yes.
You have made the following notes. Okay, who should receive a scholarship? People with exceptional academic performance, foreign exchange students, members of low-income families. Okay, some of the opinions expressed in the program. Students have to earn their right for free education. Children of parents with low income are usually more diligent learners. Students from abroad should feel welcomed in our country. You should write an essay for your tutor discussing two groups of people that should get scholarship. Should be plural, I believe. You are free to use any of the opinions from the program if you like, but you should use your own words whenever possible. Okay, you can use these or not, or come up with your own ideas. You're invited to add your own ideas supporting these two of these three prompts here. Okay, we've understood. Do not write about all three. Choose two. Pick one that is most relevant to the task. Now, right. This will break down the structure of your essay. Your introductory paragraph should state the topic of your essay and its purpose. It is recommended to make it clear which 2 points out of 3 you will be writing about. Alternatively, you may choose to state that in the first sentence, you may choose to state that in the first sentence of each body paragraph, it is possible to use both approaches together. I suggest using both. Then you will have to make sure to paraphrase these statements. Avoid making your introduction too long. 3 to 5 sentences is an optional length for your opening paragraph. Okay, avoid paraphrasing. So in your first sentence or your first paragraph, if you introduce the topic and its purpose and the points you're going to be talking about, okay, don't repeat the same words in the first line of the paragraph that you use to discuss this point. Here you can state them, and here you could like you said, like we mentioned before, you can transform this into a type of interrogative statement, a question form. State it here. Maybe make some clever, engaging question here to attract the attention of the reader. Okay, right. Body paragraphs are the tools which you use to deliver the key message of your essay. As you will be writing about 2 different points, it is natural to dedicate 1 paragraph to each point. You are advised to keep body paragraphs approximately the same size. Excuse me. Both points should be developed equally well. Some of the tasks require you to choose which of the 2 aspects is more important and to state the reason for it being more important. In that case, it is acceptable to make one of the paragraphs slightly bigger. This can be done both in the body paragraph and conclusion. Okay, your conclusion is commonly the shortest of all paragraphs. Most students tend to write a slightly paraphrased version of ideas already mentioned in the introduction or body parts. This is a valid technique and there is nothing wrong with it. It is especially useful when you have exhausted the topic and therefore you have nothing else to contribute to the text. Another possible approach is to introduce extra ideas as shown in the example essay below. Let's just skip down to the closing, the conclusion here. Right, provision of scholarship grants is not an easy task. The decision-making system should be fair and impartial, ensuring that only the most worthy and needy have their academic expenses taken care of by the government. It is only when we can ensure that the programs, it is only then, we can ensure that the program serves its initial purpose. Okay, it's added extra information. They've talked about the 2 chosen points here. They've introduced the topic and the purpose. They've probably listed the points here. They've gone into more detail about the points in each paragraph. But in the conclusion, they did a general overview of their views and opinions about the program itself. Right, okay. But I don't have the comments here. Let's look at part 2 very quickly. Let's see, we don't really have time to go into all of this. Guys, you can study on your own, right? Say yes or no.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, yes.
Right. Okay. I'm going to leave this for your reading. Okay. Now this is important because our time is limited. I'm not very fluent today. I'm sorry about that. But in writing 2, it goes into more detail about the different possible tasks you'll have in part 2. Okay. And it gives examples which are very useful. Okay. Because here you can extract ideas. You can analyze these to understand how they've responded to it. You can take, these are obviously excellent examples. He's taking the best from his students and placed them on the website and maybe made whatever corrections are necessary, okay? But they're excellent examples of all the different possible tasks that you will find in task 2, okay? Now, also, I'm going to provide this for you also. Let me just get back to, I'll give you the links to this, of course. Where are we? Uzbekistan? No, actually we're here. Right, in the sample paper. Now, something else you will find very useful. And I'll provide this to you also today. These are the answers, all the answers to the sample examination. I believe I provided a link to you for you yesterday for that. Or have I not? Oh no, I provided reading and use of English sample paper. Okay, well, I'll provide this to you. It's okay. But here, what is very important here is, okay, because there's no right answer. But what they've done is, as we've seen in the sample exam papers in the FCE exam, okay, they've looked at, let's see, I believe there's 3 different examples of question 1. Right. And then a single individual answer for each of the questions in question 2 or part 2. So you have good examples, okay, passing examples at least. But here, what's important is you have the examiner's comments. What you can do, and I highly suggest you do this, read each of these examples, okay, compare it to, think about how you would respond to the question on the exam, okay, and then read and analyze this. Actually try to find your own mistakes here, or whatever mistakes they made, sorry, not your own mistakes. Think about how you would improve on this, okay, and then have a look at the examiner's comments. You have a maximum score of 5 in each of the 4 criteria, and these comments are gold, guys, okay, because there's no way that we can do this together. We don't have time, but you can look at each of the different tasks, right? Look at the sample paper, think about either respond to it yourself, okay, do all the tasks yourself, and then compare that to candidate E, for example. If you're writing, I believe this is maybe a review, perhaps. Either way, you'll see it on the exam, and then read the examiner's comments, okay? And then maybe you can understand what marks you would get, okay? Right, I'll send you the sample paper for the writing sample paper for exam 1, okay? You'll have that in the links. Also, maybe I'll break this up. Anyway, I'll also give you this document. All right, guys, there's something else I want for us to look at. Let me just, right. Of course, we'll go back to the daily tasks. Has anyone attempted the daily task, guys? Guys, gals?
I couldn't download it, but I did all the readings and I've already looked through these essays, these candidate essays.
You couldn't download it.
Yeah, but I have already done this. I have already looked through these essays,
Right.
all
Okay.
the essays.
Excellent. Right. Let me just double check this. It is here, right? Get the link. Just bear with me, guys. What's right? Okay. I don't know. I'll check. I'll check. Oh, here. It's shared, right? You should be able to download it. Either way, I'll check it. I'm sorry. I don't want to waste time on this at the moment. Right. I'll double check all the documents, make sure that everyone has access to them. But there's something else I want to look at. It's going to take me a moment to get there. So just bear with me. Just a moment. I've got to go in the back way. Sorry. Right. Okay. Go to my post. By the way, this is my website. I'll go to the blog post because I've created an online some puzzles I'm doing. Right. Okay. Now I'll provide a link in the description below the video. Okay. Now this is a step-by-step preparation, and I'm sorry about the format, but control and you can zoom in. Okay, to make it easier on. But this is a step-by-step, let's say, guidance tool on writing an essay. It goes into the different information. It's basically a lesson to help you prepare an essay. Overview of the lesson. Then you have step one. It goes into more detail. Gives you some examples to practice here. It has boxes for you to take to make your notes step by step. Okay. Excuse me, my voice is rather harsh today, huh? Okay, step by step. Follow this as a guideline. Okay. It guides you through different concepts, approaches, and organizing your ideas, structuring your ideas. Okay. Then you'll move to the next step, step three, and then you'll write your essay. Okay. You have about 260 max words here. It's reflected in characters. Then it helps you gives you criteria to go back and assess your own work. Right. All of them gives you an opportunity to identify mistakes you've made before, and that way you can hopefully avoid these mistakes in the future. Okay, extra information. Just want to run through this. Right here, review and improve. Right, write and improve. This is the Cambridge website. I showed you this on the first day. Let's just go ahead and open it up. And it is a tool. Start practicing now. Right. Start practicing now. I believe. No, this is something else. No, it's the same, but we got there from our website, which was here under practice, under preparation. And here it was write and improve. Here it gives us I believe, a direct link into the program itself. We've seen that. You'll need to sign up with Facebook or something like that. Here you'd want to go to advanced, and then it provides different tasks at a C1 level related to the CAE exam and their topics. It gives you a space here to write between 200 and 260 words. Okay, it'll check your word count. It'll give you some feedback. Okay, I don't know if it's going to correct your grammar or your spelling, but it gives you the opportunity to write topic-based text or papers, okay, guys? So use that. And here I'll provide the link to this also. For those who find this useful, okay, use it. Then it gives you an exam task, which is it's very close to, it's actually from a sample exam from the past. Then you have another area to write your essay. Again, reflect, identifying your errors. You have some conclusions here, okay? And what's good about this is once you've done all the work, it'll create a document from all the different steps and all of your notes, your written essay, all that, and you can export it, download it into a Word format. So if you want to place the practice, you can practice there, and it'll guide you step by step through the structuring and the organization, and tips about how to write better, more concise, okay, step by step. So I'll provide this link for you in the description below below the video, right? Okay. So you have this, you have your write and improve. You have this online tool also. I'm going to provide you with a sample exam that we looked at in today's session. So your homework is to actually do that, practice doing that, write the essay. I would try to write all of the tasks. If you don't do it today, then do it tomorrow or the next day. Save them for a later date. Maybe write one each day. But we need to practice these different written tasks. Okay. How often do you write a report? How often do you write a proposal? Maybe you do this for your school. Maybe proposing a new class curriculum or different didactical materials, or you get the point. But you probably haven't done one lately. So that means that practice makes perfect. Right, let me just stop this for the moment. Right. Right, guys, questions? Sorry, I'm a little congested. My throat's a little rough. I'm sorry.
It's okay, don't worry.
Okay, guys. So I'm going to give you a lot of work, a lot of stuff to do. Okay. I'm going to make sure that all the links are. I'm going to recheck all the links and make sure that everything is accessible. My apologies that the student book wasn't available, or the daily task wasn't available. I don't understand that, but I guarantee that all links will be functioning properly. All right. Once I mean, I'm sorry.
It had been raining for 3 hours.
Is that a question?
No, just, is it clear? Thank you.
Okay, it's not a question to me. Okay. Right, guys. So, pep talk, again, a pep talk. Okay. If we're not reading, writing, listening, and speaking in English at a C1 level every day, we need to practice. I'm very proud of everything that you guys have been doing. I've heard lots of good things, lots of studying, listening. Have we started practicing writing yet? Guys?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess that's tonight. That's this evening, tomorrow morning.
Bye. See you.
Excuse me, maybe I'm getting some allergies or something. Springtime's coming. Right, guys. Questions? Final questions?
No,
No
the
question.
session was illuminating. Thank you.
Illuminating. I like the word.
Yeah,
Right.
Informative.
And not to.
very informative.
Right. Good. Thank you very much. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if we have any gentlemen on board. I'm going to go so I can process the video, get it uploaded, check all the links, double check all the links. Again, I received a couple emails with some questions. That's fine. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to email me. Actually, and I want to look at something. Now, I'll have to look at that. I've tried to start a chat channel on Zoom, but I've yet to understand exactly how to do that. So, because if we had an ongoing chat, I don't know. I'll think about it. Like, let's see what we can do. But in any event, email me with any and all questions that you might have. Okay. And with that, I wish you a wonderful evening. I want to thank you for your time and attention. And I'll meet you again tomorrow at the same time. Okay.
Okay, see
five-
you.
5 o'clock your time, 2 o'clock my time. Okay. Right. Thank you. Thank you, guys and gals.
Thank you very much.
Енді шу не четелин языку тамаза несini mesela kıskırtık kılı.